Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Birds of the Round Table. We are live here on a Monday, here talking running backs. After last week, we did our quarterback rankings. We're here to do the running backs. With me, as always, Dibes. Dibes, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? Happy to do this. Make sure you check out our quarterback rankings from last week. Let's go.
All right. Also joining Shane, the whole reason why we're on Monday night. Shane, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Just coming in hot off a baseball practice. Struck out a few kids. Now I'm ready to talk some baseball or some football.
Hey, there you go. Awesome. And, of course, last but not least, David. David, what's going on?
What's up, man? It's pretty fitting we're doing running backs. I don't know if any of you guys saw the Fanatics Fest winner of the best outfit there. He dressed up as a Jacksonville Jaguar, walking around with Saquon above him, leaping over his head. It's a phenomenal outfit. If you haven't seen it, check it out online.
Yeah, it is absolutely hilarious. But yes, thank you all for joining us here on the Eagles Pinpole Network. If you are not subscribed, what the hell are you doing? Get yourself subscribed, like, follow, share, all that fun stuff. So last week was the first in our series of top 16 positional rankings heading into the 2025 season. We're not talking about past performances or any of that. We're just focusing on just this year ahead. So have at it. We're going to start, as we always do, at number 16. Does anybody care to offer their number 16?
Sure. Kenneth Walker, the third, I believe, is who I had 16. And the reason I had him number 16, despite he having like a really good cumulative, I guess, record over the past 3 years, but his yards per carry declined down to 3.7. He's always hurt. I think he missed 6 or 7 games last year. So he has talent, but he seems like he just can't stay healthy. And over the past couple seasons, he's kind of declined there, especially with that 3.7 yards per carry average.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shane, you also have him 16.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker's tough. Like, he's a guy that I've liked for a long time, and I think he's a good running back, and I think he's running behind a bad offensive line, and that makes it tough. But he's been injured a lot. His yards per carry have been low. Honestly, he should probably be a little higher, and I think he could be in a different situation, but it's hard to put him a lot higher with some of the other guys I really like ahead of him.
Yeah, that kind of explains it for me. I'm a big fan of his, but yeah, he's just kind of on this slow decline and not really stepping up to that next level that I kind of thought he would. Dibes, your reasoning for having him 14th?
Yeah, he's an interesting one. His rushing yards per attempt, total yards, all that decline, but he also had a career high in total targets as a receiver, and he was in a role where he previously ceded to Zach Charbonnet, who I really enjoyed during the draft process. So, yeah, he needs to kind of get himself together, but I definitely think he's trending up if things start the way they ended last year.
Yeah, hopefully he can stay healthy, and yeah, they definitely need some help on that offensive line, that's for sure. Little G checking in, big fan of the Eagles season. Better Eagles kick Cowboys butts on opening night, that's for sure. All right, let's move right along. Dibes, what is your number 16 running back?
I went a little outside of the box. I'm going with a rookie, Amarian Hampton. We all know he's an immense talent. We all mostly had him, I think, as a first-round talent in this year's draft. And he comes into a solid situation with the Chargers. This is a run-heavy offense under Greg Roman. This offensive coordinator during his previous times with the Ravens and the Bills and the Niners, these are teams that ranked first and third, respectively, in team rushing attempts. He's with Najee Harris in the backfield, but I see this guy as kind of a lot of dudes that we're going to be talking about tonight. I see him maybe not getting the most opportunity, most targets and things like that, maybe in the first half of the season, but I see Hampton maybe ramping that up during the second half of the season and turning some heads and making some noise during the back nine of the 2025 schedule.
Gotcha. You were the only one to put Amari and Hampton. Pat Bernard checks in. What's up, buddy? Yeah, we are overdue for some Bravos. You let me know next time you're around, pal. So Shane, David, any particular reason why you didn't have Amari and Hampton, or was it just, unfortunately, just missed the list for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, he's a rookie, and I don't like to rank rookies before they've played in the NFL. There's one exception, and we'll get to him later in the show, but other than Ashton Genty, who was really hard for me to place, you're probably not going to see a rookie on any of these lists for me.
Sounds good, David.
Yeah, I concur with Shane. And just the uncertainty, like Dibes mentioned, he's going to be back there with Najee Harris, and it's just too hard to kind of project. And I guess I just had 16 other people I like better.
Gotcha. All right, let's roll into my number 16, and that is Chuba Hubbard. This is kind of a guy that I don't think a lot of people, thought too highly of a few years ago. But, man, he's certainly played himself into a nice starting role in Carolina, got himself a nice contract there as well. He's, certainly fended off the likes of Miles Sanders and, a few other halfway decent running back there in Carolina. But, it's all his right now. And, even when they drafted, somebody early last year's draft, was that Jonathan Brooks, they still gave him a nice an extension. So that says a lot about his, abilities there. And I don't know. I think he deserves to be on this list. And obviously you guys, at least David and Shane think so. Why did you guys have him number 14, David?
I liked him coming out of Oklahoma State, and also, coming off of a really rough season in Carolina. He just posted, almost 1,200-yard season. So I've always liked him. He's a pretty versatile player as well, in my opinion. So I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of him. He averaged 87 yards a game last season. So pretty good guy. I think his receiving grade is kind of what holds him back from being, a little higher on the list. But I do think he has the ability to improve on that as well.
Gotcha. Shane?
Yeah, he's just kind of a bruiser. Steady presence in the backfield. I feel like, he's maybe his volume stats are pushing him up a little higher. And if you're just looking at like the yardage and stuff, he gets a lot of carries in Carolina. But I think he was 8th in the NFL in yards after contact per attempt. And I always value that pretty highly for running backs. So he's just like a solid workhorse guy. I don't think he's, a special back in the way that some of the guys we're going to get to are, but he's a guy that you can hand the ball to 25 times a game and you can feel pretty good about it.
All right, Dibes, why do you hate Chuba Hubbard?
I am curious, and just similar, like quarterback play is going to be tied directly to some of these dudes. And we saw, Bryce Young in the second half of last year really turn it around. He really played well. And you look at Chuba Hubbard, I'm interested at his performance in terms of being a receiver. You look at his routes per game. They have steadily increased every year during his time with the Carolina Panthers. And if Bryce Young continues to play the way he did the last like 6-7 weeks of last year, I wonder where he looks in these rankings, week 10, week 11.
Gotcha. All right. Let's roll right to number 15. Shane, we'll go with your number 15. Who do you have?
Yeah, my number 15 is James Conner. And I guess I feel like I'm gonna say the same thing about a lot of these guys lower on the list, but just a solid presence in the backfield. I don't think he's like, a game breaker. He's not going to do that sort of stuff for you, but he's solid down in and down out. And one of the big advantages he has for this list is his pass blocking ability. He's a really good pass blocker out of the backfield. And, that's really important. And a lot of guys that are maybe equal with him as runners that are going to get left off my list just can't do what he can do in pass protection. So solid all around runner, really good pass protector. That's why he's 15 for me.
Gotcha. David, what about you?
A lot of the reasons Shane mentioned, he is really good in pass protection. He also forced a lot of missed tackles last year. It was upper 60s. I don't remember the exact number. He's coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. But on the downside of that, this is going to be year 9, and that's a long career for running backs. So it's about that point where you start seeing a precipitous drop-off. So I don't know. I still like him a lot. I think he's a solid, workhorse kind of guy, but I expect a slight decline this season.
All right. Yeah, listen, I hear you. Although he did just rush for the most yards he's rushed so far in his career in a season. So
50.
Yeah, just barely beat it, but still he's getting over 4.5 a clip. Last year, I believe he was at 5, and yeah, I just think he's consistent. He's a guy that's going to be out on the field for all 3 downs, and catches the ball out of the backfield on occasion, and yeah, I don't know.
400 receiving yards, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he's just consistent, and I absolutely love that about him. So, Dibs, you had him the highest at number 11.
Yeah, just a high floor guy, solid RB2, a guy that's going to give you, just solid production. That's really all it is.
All right. Well, there you go. Dibs, we'll stay with you. Your number 15. Who did you put there?
I went with Breece Hall. I'm really high on Breece Hall, especially during the draft process. So I'm a little bullish. He was one of my favorite dudes during that draft. And there's a guy that started 16 games the last 2 years and still hasn't eclipsed 1,000 yards. I just believe in his talent. And I'm willing to drink the Kool-Aid on the Jets' new coaching staff. So for me, I want him in my top 16, despite Braylon Allen kind of knocking on the door in terms of the depth chart. Braylon Allen also looked pretty solid during moments last year, but I really do like Breece Hall.
All right. There you go. And Shane, you had him number 13.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Like, he was off to such a good start in 2022 before he got injured. 5.8 yards per attempt in 2022 as a rookie. He gets injured. He comes back. Is it that he's not the same? Is it just kind of the mess that the Jets have been over the last 2 years? Maybe it's a little bit of both, but his yards per attempt and his yards after contact per attempt have dropped every year since 2022. So he's a guy that I really like. I'm hoping that, having Justin Fields in the backfield, having a mobile quarterback can open things up for him a little bit more, because I believe in his talent, but this is probably the last time I stand for Breece Hall if something doesn't turn around for him this year. So I'm a believer still, but it's starting to waver.
David?
Yeah, I agree with most everything Shane said. I do think he has been a little less explosive since the injury in 2022. I do think that a lot of his value is dependent upon what the Jets' new coaching staff value him as. But he's a guy who basically gets 1,000 yards a season the past 2 years. He's really close. He puts up about 500 receiving yards as well. He's a pretty decent dual threat. So that's why I had him 12th. And like Dibe said, I'm just kind of gambling on the talent there. I mean, he's a very talented back.
Yeah, I mean that's why I had him in my top 10. I believe in the talent there, and I think it's going to have to come through eventually. And despite being a New York Jet and their awfulness, but yeah, exactly. I think he's a guy that can do it, kind of do it all, and yeah, while he's certainly dipped production wise. Over the last couple of seasons, I'm looking for him to kind of take a bounce back season this year and really kind of reinsert himself as that young potential running back star. So
I will say too, like the last 2 seasons combined, he's averaged like 550 yards receiving.
Yeah.
So although the rushing stats haven't been there, he has been a big part of their passing game, and that can also be due to some quarterback failures as well. But he's been at least capable out of the backfield, which is a big plus.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Looks like I'm up for my number 14, and that is one Mr. James Cook out of Buffalo. This is a guy that I think probably doesn't get enough credit, for what he does in that offense. And, I was a big fan of him coming out, and, the last 2 seasons he eclipsed over 1,000 yards and, running, almost at a 5.0 clip per carry in his career. He had 16 touchdowns last year. And he is, part of the receiving game. So, yeah, I don't know. I just I like James Cook. I want to see him do a little bit more. Maybe I'm more hopeful for his abilities, but I'm looking for him next year to be a little higher on this list for sure. So, Shane, you had him all the way up at number 11.
Yeah, he kind of had the breakout year last year, right? 16 touchdowns, and I liked him as a player coming out. I think he offers some things as a receiver out of the backfield, but he's just a nice option for the ground game to complement what Josh Allen brings you. He's been a really solid player. You could nitpick with his pass protection, which has been an issue. But when you have Josh Allen as your quarterback, that's just not as big of a deal, maybe. So I really like James Cook. I would not, love the fact that he's rumbling about wanting a new contract right now, because I generally don't love paying running backs. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in Buffalo.
Yeah. David, you had him 13.
Yeah, he's a really good player. Back-to-back Pro Bowls. Shane touched on it. 16 touchdowns last year, mainly due to Josh Allen's inability to perform the tush-push well. But, I mean, what can you do? But 16 touchdowns. I mean, he's got almost 3,000 yards from scrimmage the past 2 years. He does seemingly get kind of lost in that offense for whatever reason. I think a lot of people will be shocked to know he had 16 touchdowns and 1,600 off scrimmage yards last season or the season before. I mean, it's pretty impressive stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a great running back. So, Dibes, tell us why you didn't have him on your list.
Son of a bitch. No, I will say maybe last year was a blip. He had 9 combined touchdowns his first 2 years. When you look at the numbers, pretty much all those came within 9 yards. Of his 16 touchdowns, 5 came from the 2-yard line or closer, 6 3 yards or out. And yeah, I'm just his 2024 season could be just an anomaly. So that's where I'm going.
So what you're saying is if, what David was saying, that if they were better at the tush push, that Josh Allen would be stealing some of those touchdowns?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go. All right. All right. Love it. Absolutely love it. Dives, we'll stick with you here. We'll go to your number 13 running back. Who do you got?
Kyren Williams. I really like Kyren Williams. Most notably, I think he's a great pass protector. He's an extremely well-balanced back. I'm actually shocked I'm the lowest. Tell me why.
Okay. There you go. Well, David and Shane both had him number 8. David, I'll go with you first. Kyren Williams, number 8.
Yeah, I mean, he rushed for 1,300 yards. He was an all-pro. I mean, he put up a a really good season. I don't remember what his yards per carry average were, but I know that it didn't stand out when I looked at it. I just can't remember what it
4.1.
was. Yeah, so that's probably why some people don't look at him as well. But you rush for 1,400 yards, and I know he had a really high WAR. His pass blocking grade was actually pretty decent, I thought. But I mean, he's in an extremely explosive offense, which is always going to be helpful. I thought about putting him like fifth. I mean, I think he's a really, really good talent.
All right, Shane.
Yeah, I love Kyron Williams. He taught me something about the draft process because I loved him coming into the draft, and then I got scared by his 40 time and took him down a little bit, and I should have never done that. And I learned to trust my eyes a little more since then. But I think he's fantastic. I really wish that the Rams would just like make him their full-on bell cow back, and they seem to not want to do that. And I just wish they would, because I think he could put up even gaudier stats. But 1,100 yards this year, last year, almost 1,300 yards this year. He's the real deal, and that's why I've got him up at number 8.
Yeah, Shane, you said it kind of perfectly. I think it's because of their usage of him, and they could be utilizing him a lot more, is why I maybe have him at number 11 and maybe not higher with you guys. I'm also a big fan of his. I mean, obviously, we saw a good amount of him in the playoff game. He ran for over 100 yards against the Eagles. And yeah, I just, again, I think he's a really nice young back in this league. And, again, I assume he'll be higher on many of our lists for next year. So, all right, we'll stay with me. I'll go to my number 13. And I had Ashton Genty. Which is way lower than everybody else, which clearly the whole rookie thing. I like Shane. I kind of didn't necessarily know where to go with him. It's all hype right now. It's all, we're just assuming that he's going to come in and light up the world. And again, I get it. We're in this, day and age where that seems to be more of the norm, but I can't put him inside my top 10 and in front of some of these guys that have been doing it year in and year out and been successful until he shows me at least, something. Now, listen, maybe maybe a half into the season before I realize I'm an idiot, but I'm still going to have him there until he, proves me wrong, basically. I'll go with David. David, you had him at number 9.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have any other rookie in any of these things we do, much less top 10. But here we are. I mean, when a guy rushes for 2,600 yards in college and almost 2,000 of them are after contact, that's pretty impressive. I mean, he's probably, in my opinion, was the best offensive player in this draft. I get the whole sour on running back thing. I know why teams don't want to do it, but the Raiders desperately needed a weapon. They got one, and I think they're going to run the hell out of him. So I'm excited to see what he does this season.
All right. Shane, number 5.
Yeah, rookies are tough. I generally do not put rookies on any of these lists because I need to see what they do in the NFL. But if I'm talking about like where I would take a guy, he's very high for me. You can't use the word generational about a prospect in the draft and then like not have him in your top 16. That felt weird. So I put him at number 5. There's 4 guys I would absolutely take ahead of him if I was just drafting a fantasy draft running back for my actual NFL team. That's kind of how I tried to view it. He'll be the only rookie that makes any of these lists for me, and 5 might be too low. It might end up being too high. I don't know, because we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. And Dives, you had him all the way up at number 4.
Yeah, he's the best running back prospect we've seen since Bijan. And the Raiders offense is nothing to write home about, but he's going to get his touches. Look at their depth chart. Like, he's going to get a lot of opportunity. And even though it's not the greatest offense, I think he's going to put up a lot of numbers. We all know the stats from last year. There's just really not a lot of weaknesses to his game, whether that's moving the chains or as a receiver, I think he's the total package. And I am a little biased. I do have the number 1 pick in my league, and I will be taking him. So there's that.
Oh, for fantasy?
Yeah.
Like it's a redraft league and you're taking him number 1?
We do that thing. I don't know what you call it. The futures, like where you can draft these guys.
I do not, but all right. Okay, let's go to Shane and your number 12. Who do you have?
Yeah, my number 12 is Devon Achane. And he was probably the guy outside of Ashton Genty that was hardest for me to rank. Like, he's got all the speed in the world. He had an elite rookie season. He dropped off a little bit last year, but kind of everything dropped off for the Dolphins. And maybe I'm a little bit just like sour on their entire approach and their entire offense, but I think he's such a good player. He's certainly a home run threat every time the ball's in his hands. Sometimes you just want that steadier presence, and I think that's maybe why I've got him a little lower. He's like the ultimate Madden running back, right? But, I don't know. I feel like he's a guy that could end up being like an elite player for several years, but I still have concerns about volume and usage and consistency with him. And so he was a little tough for me to rank, but I ended up slotting him in at number 12.
All right. Dives.
Yeah, really high on Achane, as I was during the draft process. He's got a ton of receiving yards, and his production will likely coincide and exacerbate if Tua can stay healthy this year, if he can stay healthy, because when Tua is healthy, he's terrific.
Yeah. David?
I agree with that. That's a big reason I'm gambling on his upside and his athleticism. He's a threat to score every time he puts his hand on the ball. He's, phenomenal out of the backfield. If he stays healthy, he could be exactly what Shane said, a guy who, is top 4 or 5 running back in the league over the next 3 years.
Yeah, 1,500 yards total, 12 touchdowns last year, and he was fighting off other running backs. Most notably. Why am I blanking on his name? I think he's with the Raiders now. Is he? Who was their backup running back last year?
Mostert?
Yeah, Mostert.
Yeah.
He was hurt a lot too.
How do I know that?
Yeah. So now all he has really is Jalen Wright. I think Alexander Madsen might be there too. But so hopefully he should be getting a lot more of the carries here, and I expect him to continue to up his game after the great season he had last year and the year before. So, all right, Dives, you're up, number 12.
Yeah, probably the lowest. Yeah, definitely the lowest on this dude. It's Jonathan Taylor, mostly because I do not believe in the Colts quarterback situation whatsoever. It's just a mess. But Taylor just needs to stay healthy. Really struggled last year, just like the rest of the Colts offense. He's coming off a 300-plus carry season in 2024. All of his metrics were career lows in terms of yards after contact per attempt, in terms of missed tackles, force per attempt. He's still an RB1 for sure, but the injury and the just below average play of the offense, that's where I'm at.
Gotcha. All right. Shane, you had him number 6.
Yeah, I was on like the Jonathan Taylor MVP train back in 2021 when he had his 1,800-yard season. And he had a couple down years after that. There were some injury things, some contract things, but he bounced back in a pretty big way in 2024 with 1,400 yards. And I'm just going to take that as more of the real thing than the contract dispute being injured 2 years in between. I just think he's a fantastic player. And that's really about it. I just think he's really good, and he's basically the only thing the Colts have going for them.
Yeah. No, I'm a humongous fan of Jonathan Taylor, and I think this past year was more indicative of what we should be seeing when healthy. Obviously that 1,800-yard season. was absolutely amazing here. But he had his highest yards per attempt since that season. So I'm looking for him to kind of continue, on that trajectory of getting himself back into the top running back conversation. So, David, you had a number 6 as well.
Yeah, same thing all of y'all said. I mean, the guy put up almost 1,500 rushing yards last season. My only pause for concern is what Shane and you mentioned about his season in 2021 when he had over 300 carries. He kind of did, struggle for 2 seasons after that. I mean, you get the hell beat out of you like that, it does send you, down a little bit, but he was an all-pro last year. Again, I think that the offense over there, while their quarterback is probably played, might be questionable. I think that they're going to have to rely on him quite a bit, and he's proven he can do that like he did last year. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't pull through again with another 1,300 yard season.
Gotcha. All right. David, we'll stick with you and your number 11. Who do you got?
I think it's Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
All right. I had him this low because I detest the Packers. But I don't know, man. He's a good back. I guess he's in, what year is he in now? 7th year? I think it's his 7th year. He just put up really good numbers, 1,300 yards, but the Packers went out and finally drafted like a first-round wide receiver, even though a lot of people think that they kind of went too high on him. I think they're going to try to, spread the ball around a little bit more. They're, pretty successful with Jacobs. I guess he had 1,300 yards. Another guy, I think I've said this like 3 times, I think he was an all-pro last year as well. But I think he's a little bit on the downside despite him putting up such gaudy numbers last year and 15 touchdowns. But great back any way you look at it. I mean, you're number 11 in the league. You're doing something right.
Yeah, no, 1,300 yards. I believe he had 15 touchdowns.
No tush push.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of his, especially when he gets his carries, and he got 300 last season. The last time he did that, he was back with the Raiders, and he had a great season then as well. I think that was his.
It was 22, but he struggled terribly.
Sorry, yeah, it was 1,600 that year.
There's kind of a common theme with these guys running 300 carries one year and then a precipitous drop off the following season.
Sure. Obviously injuries are certainly a factor in that equation. But I don't know. I just I like him, even though I also detest the Packers. I had to say that. So. All right, Shane, why did you have him number 10?
Yeah. He's a good running back. He's been a good running back over the course of time. You guys are right. Like, carries and time is adding up, and we'll see how, he's able to continue to sustain that load. But I think he's also an underrated receiver, which is a good thing for a Packers offense that struggled to figure out receiver going back, to what? Brett Favre? I don't know. It feels like they've had receiver issues for a long time. He was like 7th in the NFL in yards per route run from the running back position. And I just think that all adds up to him being a really good fit for Green Bay. I think he was the perfect fit for that offense. And as long as he can stay healthy and continue to sustain that high workload, he's going to put up really good numbers.
Dibs, you also had him number 10. What do you like about Jacobs?
I like Jacobs. I just have a couple of questions, like their running back by committee kind of offense. I'm a big Marshawn Lloyd guy. I'm curious how much he takes the next step in 2025. He's solid. His performance on the field is weird. He's on the field more on 3rd downs than he is on early rundowns. But yeah, he's kind of in that tier, high floor kind of guy.
Gotcha. All right, we'll go back to David. Your number 10, Christian McCaffrey. Tell us about
CMC. Yeah. I have to admit, I kind of put him here like how in Major League Baseball, you kind of put like 38-year-old King Griffey Jr. in the All-Star game just because he's been good in his life. Like, I feel like he's kind of deserving of that. But man, he suffered a multitude of injuries last year, including Achilles. He'll be 29 years old. And in the past 4 seasons, he's only eclipsed more than 750 yards once in rushing yards. And, that was a monster season, and that shows you what he's capable of in 2023. He had like 2,000 yards from scrimmage, which is just incredible. But age and injuries and et cetera, I think are just kind of catching up to him. But I'll put him at 10 just for the, off chance that he puts it together again. But if I was a betting man, I would not gamble that he ever does anything like he did in 2023 again.
Gotcha. Yeah. I kind of with you there, David. I think out of respect, he deserves to be on this list because when he is healthy, he is absolutely one of the best in the game. It's just that he hasn't been, and he'll go for a couple of games and he'll fool you and think that he's back, and then he'll tweak something, and then that turns into something more, and then he's out for a long period of time. But he's definitely one of the most electric running backs in this game. It's just sad that injuries have kind of been catching up to him for a lot of these years. So Shane, you had him number 9.
Yeah, he was another guy that was just tremendously difficult to rank because 29 coming off an injury. Like, I don't know that we're ever seeing the 2023 Christian McCaffrey again, but it just feels wrong to bet against him. And so, if he might continue to be injury prone and not deserve a spot on this list, period, he could bounce back and I could be way too low because at the 2023 level, he's in the conversation for the best running back in the league. And I think I'd probably give it to him. So he was really tough. I kind of split the difference and just kind of hedged both directions, I guess, because I'm just not sure what the health status is going to be.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. Dibes, you had him highest at 6.
Yeah, he's fully healthy right now, right? Ready to go.
So they say, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be like the ultimate.
He's coming into a camp in the best shape of his life.
Yeah,
he's got to be the ultimate boomer bust, top selection in terms of skill position guys. And yeah, when healthy, he can put up monster yards. He could be a top 3 workhorse running back, but the injuries are taking a toll. Maybe we see Kyle Shanahan kind of go against his grain and go running back by committee. Who knows? So huge swing kind of pick.
Yeah. Well, all right. We're going to stay with you, Dives, maybe for 2 in a row here. We got you for number 9.
Chase Brown. Mostly just going with the offense. That's all I got.
All right. For somebody who is the only one with Chase Brown.
Oh, really?
You had him in your top 10, and that's literally all you had to say. You know what? Take a seat. It's okay. Shane, you know what? Why does Dibes like Chase Brown?
He scored a lot of touchdowns last season. I mean, he came in down the stretch, started to get more carries after Zach Moss got hurt, and he put up a lot of touchdowns, 7 touchdowns on the ground. I think he caught a couple too. I can't remember now. I'd have to look that up, but good player, explosive athlete. Hasn't, he's still under 300 career carries through 2 seasons. So everything was trending up for him down the stretch last season. So maybe Dives is projecting that continued trajectry.
Yeah. You look at the depth chart, like there's not a lot there that really blows me away either.
No, he had, over 1,350 total yards. He had over 11 touchdowns. So yeah, he was definitely, certainly useful. I just think, he's not just quite there yet, in my opinion. But, listen, I think he has the potential to be a great running back in this league. So, all right, we'll stay with Dibes, and hopefully he'll have a little bit more to say on his number 8 running back. It
was four receiving touchdowns for the record.
What did I said 11 total, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't actually hear you say that because I was looking it up.
Well,
because I knew he scored 7 on the ground. I couldn't remember what he caught.
There you go. Well, math.
Teamwork makes the dream work, Ryan. We got this.
All right, Dives. You're number 8 running back. Who do you got there?
Love this dude, Bucky Irving, and I'm, I guess, the lowest on him. But 62 forced missed tackles last year, 3.93 yards after contact per attempt. That was the best mark in the NFL. He's also an amazing receiver, arguably the best of anyone in this group remaining, and really improved last year. 11.9 attempts or opportunities during the first 9 weeks, nearly 19 in the latter half. The Bucs have one of the best O-lines in football, and now he's the true starter going forward. So Bucky Irving looks like a top 5 kind of dude going forward.
All right, Shane, you had him number 7.
Yeah, Bucky Irving's awesome, man. Like Dive said, led the league in yards after contact per attempt. He also had 392 receiving yards, and he wasn't even the leading target getter running back on his team because Rachaad White stole 55 targets. Like, get Rachaad White out of there and give the ball to Bucky Irving, and he's going to be fantastic. So they definitely should be leaning on Bucky Irving more. And I mean, you could argue, rotationally, like, keep him fresh, all that stuff. But Bucky Irving's awesome. The sky is the limit for him. I really believe that. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's certainly coming out. I kind of knew he would be special, but I definitely didn't think he would be this special this quick. But yeah, he's exciting to watch. He's fun, and yeah, they need to get Rachaad White the hell out of there and give Bucky Irving every carry they can. So, David, you had him number 4. You were the highest.
Yeah, for every reason y'all said, I think if he gets even a third of those carries and touches away from White, that he's going to be top 3 or 4 back in this entire league. I mean, he's just exceptional. If he became the unadulterated starter, I think you'd be talking about a guy who was top 3 fantasy pick.
Yeah. All right. David, we'll stay with you. Your number 5 selection. That would, of course, be Jahmyr Gibbs.
Am I the lowest on him?
Tied.
You and Dives are tied.
Yeah. Phenomenal season. I mean, the guy's had 26 rushing touchdowns the past 2 seasons, 1,400 yards rushing last year. I don't remember what his receiving yards were, but they were a lot, 500 plus. I'm guessing. I mean, he probably had almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Plays, for a really good team, but I lowered my expectations or tempered them just slightly and put him 5th behind Bucky and the other top 3 just because of the uncertainty of what's going to go down in Detroit. I think we all know from being Eagles fans, when you lose coordinators and things like that, stuff changes really, really quick. So I'll be interested to watch how he's utilized if he continues getting the ball as much as he has. I think he had 320 targets if you count his rushing attempts and receiving targets combined. That's a lot. And if he doesn't get that kind of volume, I don't think the numbers will be there with it.
Gotcha. Dives?
Yeah, I'm with David. Maybe a little more bullish on Jahmyr Gibbs than I should be. Curious what his short yardage and goal line opportunities will look like with David Montgomery. Maybe he's more of a high end RB2. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he has all the skills in the world to be a good RB1. David Montgomery, not on this list, no, but he certainly is a nice 1-2 punch with Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think that fact alone probably hinders Gibbs slightly on these lists here if they didn't have Montgomery stealing carries and stealing touchdowns. So, Shane, your thoughts on Gibbs?
Yeah, Gibbs is really good. 3rd in the NFL in yards per attempt and 3rd in total receiving yards among running backs. So he can do it all. Electric, explosive. The only question I have is, you look at the 3 guys that we have left can just sustain significantly more volume than I think Jahmyr Gibbs can. And I think that's why you see, I think Lions fans get frustrated with David Montgomery carries sometimes, but I just don't know that you can give Jahmyr Gibbs, a 300 carry season. I don't know that he can really sustain that. And so that's my biggest knock on him is just, what's he going to be able to sustain? He's sub 200 pounds, sub 5'10". That's my only concern with him, but he's lightning in a bottle.
Gotcha. All right, Shane, we'll stick with you and your number 3 running back. Who do you got?
Yeah, my number 3 running back is Bijan Robinson. And Robinson's just like, I feel bad because I think he was stuck in an awful situation with a team that shouldn't have drafted him to begin with, because they had Tyler Algier, a guy that is probably not far off of my list here. But poorly coached, poor offense, but he's so good. Like, he's good in short yardage. He's explosive. He is good out of the backfield. Like, he can do so many different things for you. And I just keep waiting on him. And maybe I shouldn't say waiting on him to break out. He almost had 1,500 yards last year, but I just think he's tremendously talented, and he probably doesn't get enough like accolades and recognition because he's stuck on a team that can't manage to win the NFC South.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, he had almost 1,900 total yards, receiving and rushing. I think you said it perfectly. I think his hindrance here is the team he plays for. I was a huge fan of Algier and was shocked after his rookie season they went out and drafted Bijan. But talent wise, I don't think there's a better young running back in this league. Bijan is exciting. He's fun. He can pretty much do it all. You're just kind of excited for the next step there, and hope that he can kind of overcome the Atlanta Falcons, basically. So, David.
Yeah, my 5, 4, and 3 were separated by very little, and the reason Robinson was ahead of all of them is volume. He is going to get 300 touches. He is going to get 60 to 70 looks as a receiver, and that just matters. He's going to be utilized more than the other guys unless injury rears its head, and that's basically why I had him number 3. He's the talent between 5, 4, and 3 is very little difference in my opinion, but the volume matters.
Yeah. All right, Dives, number 1 running back, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I'm not picking the most talented. I'm picking the guy that I think is going to have the best season. And I think Robinson, all signs point to him having just astronomical amount of touches and opportunities this year, whereas my other 2 might see a slight decline, not necessarily in production, but I think Robinson is the total package. He's going to get a ton of opportunities, short whether that's early downs, passing downs, 2-minute drills, goal line. He averaged 21 attempts or opportunities last year. I think that goes way up this year. And I am drinking the Kool-Aid on Michael Penix. I've always been a big fan of his. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but I think Penix can be a quality starter and set up Bijan really well. So I think this is his year. I think you look at the other 2 guys on my list, maybe they're kind of going, not necessarily trending downward, but more managed. And that's my projection.
Gotcha. All right, Stabs, we'll stay with you. You're number 3.
I don't even know what it is. Which one is it?
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. And I think he's, I'm going to get slack for this one, but I do think reducing his workload is key. It'll be interesting to see what the Eagles do with that RB2 spot with Will Shipley and things like that. But for me, Saquon's terrific. He's sensational. Nobody's ever repeated as a 2,000-yard running back ever. That is astronomical expectations. I still think they'll ramp him up as the season progresses, going into the playoffs. But I just think maybe it'd be best for the Eagles to decrease that workload. And I still think he's going to put up really good numbers, but I think it'd be really smart on behalf of the Eagles, maybe to, more downfield passes, get Devontae more involved, get Dallas Goedert more involved with mesh or the intermediate area of the field. So for me, I'm putting in Saquon at 3 just because I hope we see a little shift.
Okay. All right, Shane, number 1 running back, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, I just gesture to last year. he's the most talented running back in the NFL. Maybe he's not quite as good this year coming off the 2,000-yard season, the heavy workload, the run to the Super Bowl. But I'm not trying to project out fantasy rankings. I just think he's the most talented back in the league. And so until he falls off, I'm going to keep him there.
Yeah. David?
Yeah, he's the best running back in the league. I mean, he led the league in rushing yards. He led the league in the most runs of 10 yards or more, explosive plays, on and on and on. And while it is, you probably do have to temper your expectations a little bit in regards to another 2,000-yard season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's flirting with it again. You talk about RB2 and RB3 on this team. None of them are challenging him for carries the way the other guys that we mentioned a little earlier on this list, like with Gibbs and Irving. That's not happening on this team, so unless he gets hurt. So I do expect him to be the most dominant running back again this year. I'd be very surprised if he is not in the conversation at the end of the season for most rushing yards in the league again.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys there. Until proven otherwise, he's number one. I mean, he's one of the most talented running backs, running behind one of the most talented offensive lines, and they clearly, made something magical last year. And the explosive plays, the even just in the playoffs, my gosh, like just pure excitement. So.
And not to mention Jalen Hurts. He's almost a cheat code for running backs, man. I mean, he does a lot to give every person on that offense who ever touches the ball a lot more yards, because when he pulls that thing back in, when he sees the edges crashing in, I mean, he saves him from hits on doing that. He extends rushing yards. I mean, he's amazing in that aspect. And I think it's something when a lot of people you'll see argue all of the time, like, oh, if Joe Burrow was on the Eagles, he'd win Super Bowls too. If because nobody can accept the fact that Hurts is a difference maker. But if you actually watch the games and see what he contributes in that running game, you would know that this offense is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean,
making those linebackers just move left or right just for that half a second does everything for this offense.
Well, you look at the first or the second Commanders game. Jalen Hurts goes down early in the game, and Saquon was on a tear before. As soon as Hurts went out, couldn't do anything.
Saquon had 122 rushing yards in the first half and 28 in the second half in that game.
Exactly. So that right there will tell you everything you need to know. So,
well, is there anything more fun than, kind of related, like when Saquon's running in front of Jalen Hurts? Like, that's such a special play. I want to see more of that next year.
All right, let's get to our number two, which I believe this is the first time we've all had the same person at a specific position, and it's Derrick Henry. Shane, why is he your number two?
I've got a trivia question for you.
Oh, boy.
Over the last 7 seasons, what do you think Derrick Henry's average rushing yards per season has been in the last 7 years?
7? I'm going to go 1,600 yards.
He's on pace to break a ton of records. It's got to be high.
Yeah, I thought you'd guess way lower than that. It's 1,572 yards.
Hey, look at me.
So that's just insane, right? Like, I mean, to have your average over 7 years be almost 1,600 yards is insane. Nobody has done it longer for Derrick Henry, nobody's done it longer than Derrick Henry. And he almost, if you count the playoffs last year, he topped 2,000 yards. I mean, it's not the regular season stat, but he had a phenomenal season last year. He's showing no signs of slowing down. So Derrick Henry, phenomenal player, and seems to be defeating Father Time for now. We'll see how long it holds.
Yeah, there you go. David?
Yeah, I mean, I find it pretty fascinating that prior to the 2024 season, number 1 and 2 on 3 of our list were all free agents that anybody in the league could have had, and they ended up being the best running backs. And a lot of people see Henry as like a bruiser, but he was second in those 10-yard or more rushing plays last season, which is phenomenal. He was only 2 behind Saquon in that. but a lot of people don't see him in that same vein. And Shane had mentioned his close to 1,600 yards per season average over those 7 years, but he's also averaged over 300 yards per carry. He's the anomaly there, the freak that he never has a setback after doing that. He has just been churning on and on. That would be the argument. He was the only guy who you could maybe make an argument as RB1, but after Barkley's season last year, there was just no way you could dethrone him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dives, anything to add?
Not really. Just to piggyback off of David, like it's kind of nice to see, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley rejuvenate the running back position. You look at Bijan Robinson and Bucky Irving and A-Chain and Genty and Amarian Hampton. You look at, next year, Jeremiah Love, CJ Baxter, Katron Allen, Nick Singleton. Like there's some great running backs coming up. And it seems like, this running back position, if you looked at it like a few years ago, it was kind of iffy to be polite. So
it was
overall, it's nice to see.
Yeah, it was kind of a dying position. Top running backs on the free agent market were getting $5 million at the time, and it was it's crazy to see how far a few years difference can make. So, but that's it, folks. That is our running back rankings. Take a look at what we got here. If for whatever reason you're wondering why are they doing running backs, it's because we did quarterbacks last week. So please go check out that show. If you already aren't subscribed to the Eagles Pin Pull Network, please do so. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you want. We'll be there, or Spotify as well. So check all that out. There was a little bit of our quarterbacks from last week. So we'll be putting this up. This is the second of our series. We'll be doing every single position. Wide receivers will be next week. So stay tuned for that. Again, only the top 16. So we'll see exactly where we all have our players. So, all right, guys, that's it. Dives, final thoughts, anything to add, anything to plug? Floor is yours.
No, make sure you check out Eagles Eric's show with Kurt Warner. I don't think it's out on public streams yet, but amazing show. Go check it out.
It's on YouTube. It's processing out on audio platforms. So you can check it out on YouTube right now. It'll be out this evening on audio platforms. I had some technical difficulties.
Come on, Shane.
I know. It was supposed to be out earlier than it showed up on YouTube. I scheduled it and then I was gone. And he was like, "Hey, did you accidentally do like PM instead of AM?" I was like, "No." And then I went back and YouTube it like failed the upload at like 98%. I've never had that happen before. So YouTube didn't want you to see this show. So go listen to it.
Now you have to go watch it. So, all right. David, anything to add, anything to say, anything to plug? What do you got working on written work wise?
Today I released a piece about the new dynamic duo manning the middle of the Eagles defense, which is like comparing Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond to Bavaro and Patrick Willis from the 49ers. But I'm sure everyone else is sitting on pins and needles waiting for our top 16 interior lineman rankings. I think we should just skip wide receiver and just go straight to guards and centers.
I was just about to.
That's going to be the banger episode. Just wait till those numbers come out.
I was just about to set that up on our Excel spreadsheet. So
I don't even know if Dibes is going to listen to that one.
No, I'm out for that one.
No, you're right. Oh, God. All right, Shane, floor's yours. Anything to add? Anything to plug? What do you got?
Yeah, just stay locked into the Eagles Pin Pull Network on YouTube, on Twitch, on podcasting platforms. It all helps. Please share the show with a friend, and we'll keep bouncing content out your way. I think tomorrow Mark and I are going to do head coach rankings on Chalk Talk. And then Wednesday, Johnny and I are going to be wrapping up. We might not get through all the rest of them, but we're going to do several more watch-alongs for the Eagles rookies. So if that's your thing, be sure you're tuned in, and we'll keep kicking that content out for y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah, please make sure Like you said, if you're not subscribed already, if you don't already have all the downloads from Spotify or Apple or YouTube or whatever, please make sure you do that. Please make sure you share it. Please make sure you tell your friends. Every little bit does help, every single thing. So that's going to be it for us for this week. Another Birds of the Round Table. Next week, we're doing wide receivers. Last week, we did quarterbacks, so check that out. We will see you guys next week on another Birds of the Round Table. Go Birds.